Oh god, here we go. And JimRising is alluding to, again, 2 weeks ago when JimRising faced nanO. nanO went full Sky Toss and Jim could not deal with it. He kept trying to go for these Hydra timings. We've seen it many times before, right? You go for these Hydra timings to try and end the game early, and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't close it out, and then he'd end up in a longer game where he was a little bit behind because he traded so much so earlier on, and nanO, his Sky Toss control is pretty good.
So what you're saying is JimRising is solar.
What I'm saying is JimRising, he's got to like go full Germany on this guy. Whip out the taxi.
He does. Deutsches Taxi. No, it is taxi. Yeah, it is. As we load in onto Romanticide LE. And they, of course, standing for Lovers. Ecuador. I think I did that already. Lovers. Echidnas. Lovers Echidnas. That's when you got Knuckles. In the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss player, coming out all the way from the land of Brazil. He is going to be representing Clan The Bad, but he is anything but. We have nanO.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have Arturo Duran Silencio El Asesino. We have representing Team Timbers Esports. He did announce that he's going to be switching races if he loses to carriers. It is JimRising.
So much online here. You know what you need to do, nanO?
Do it. Do it. Make it happen. Make him switch races.
Let him see the PvP. Unleash the beast. And then regret it. All I'm saying is JimRising's PvP. It's not bad.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see him win with it. That's what I want out of this. And it's possible. It's definitely possible. We'll see. Regardless, like I also want to see Jim improve at this matchup and see him actually attempt and succeed to take down carriers as well. It's something that he's been struggling a lot with.
In before nanO wins with Glaive to Depths.
Oh god, the ultimate mind game. Oh god, that would be the worst way for this to go. If like JimRising, he like blindly goes for like the German taxi with all these queens and he just like goes face first into Adepts.
I mean, depending on timings, I would imagine that like the German taxi can still do pretty well against Glaive to Depths, but that's not what we're seeing over here. nanO, he's giving the fans what they want to see.
Oh yeah, here we go. We have a Stargate opening coming out from nanO. We'll see how many Stargates get thrown down in the end. We'll see how committed he is to Void Race, or if he decides to switch things up.
Yeah, always possibilities here. I am pretty glad like that we're starting to see a lot more Phoenix-based compositions. I have to admit I'm a little bit of a Roddy follower.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to see them Phoenixes coming out. But for the most part, yeah, Void Race are still dominant in this matchup.
Yeah. You know, the meta did shift to favor them, and that's a lot of what we see in this matchup. And here we go. We have the first Void Ray on the way for nanO. Meanwhile, Jim is going in with his Overlord, so he should be able to scout what this opening is.
Yeah, I got a face full of prismatic. Yeah, it is prismatic. Oh, you usually call it prismic. I can't today for some reason, but prismic alignment. He's gonna get a face full of that. Prismatic alignment.
There you go. As the Void Ray does come out.
So.
Yeah, it does take out the Overlord. So Jim, he confirms the opening, and we'll see how he has refined his style, as immediately we have a lair on the way. So I imagine he's just gonna go straight into Hydroden. That's typically what we've been seeing. Part of me wishes that he would go into Spire, but I don't know how confident he is.
Yeah, I was gonna say JimRising without a Spire is like, you know, a dog without a bone. It's like a caged animal.
It's like a cat without a mouse.
He wants to unleash it, yeah. He's like a cat without a human control.
He's like cats without Dongwon.
It's like Mio Micah without a cat.
Without a Jiggly.
It's like a Dongwon without a tuna.
Exactly. It just doesn't work. And he's doing it. He's going for the Spire.
Hey, that is definitely what we like to see. Now, do have to, again, just sort of question the effectiveness of that. But again, if it's something JimRising has practiced and is confident in, I still believe he can take out the potential Phoenix follow-up coming out from this.
Yeah, I like it because I was talking about it before. Like, the Hydra timings just weren't working for him. Like, so, why continue to try and do the same thing over and over again when it just hasn't been going your way? So come up with something else, experiment a little bit, see what can happen. And I'm really curious because a regular player, I would assume that Corruptors would be on the way. But because it's Jim, he could do something crazy and just meter it up.
Absolutely could. Oh, you know what I'd love to see more than anything else here, like very quick infestation pit, get a couple of infestors out, get them fungals onto Phoenixes, prevent them from kiting so well like they want to do, and then just let Glaives on the Mutalisk do the rest.
Yeah. We shall see what the plan is here, because there it is. Mutas are on the way, and sure, there are a couple of Void Rays, but again, Mutas at high enough numbers, they're going to chase and just absolutely annihilate the Void Rays. What is scary though is that Jim is on a timer, a very short timer, as soon as he reveals them, because there is double Stargate production. So as soon as nanO sees it, he's going to switch into Phoenixes.
Yeah, it is a very, very brief window, and I think nanO has just about seen the Mutalisk coming out.
There it is, Phoenix production.
There we go. But again, he is starting that Phoenix production all the way up from scratch, and the main advantage of Phoenixes, aside from its bonuses to biological units, is also just the fact that they can kite these units so effectively. But since JimRising is going all the way across the map, they're about to run out of room.
Exactly.
Words.
Yeah. As so far, 2 Phoenixes are out, and he immediately dives on top of them. Oh, doesn't get a Phoenix though.
Battery keeping them alive. I should be able to get them now. Battery overcharge being popped. Just like so. And JimRising is in quite the precarious position.
Jim, he wants those Phoenixes. He keeps diving on top of them, but they just won't die.
No, they will not. Shield batteries, man. The absolute MVPs. Look at that Phoenix. What is that? 2 health? He does get 1.
He finally gets 1 Phoenix for his troubles. Oh, can he finally start to clean these up? Oh, just barely not. Oh.
The batteries are running out of energy here. Light does get another quick little Phoenix, and he is raking up those probe kills. There goes, not the last Phoenix, but, just about the last effective Phoenix. And JimRising, he's back away. He takes out 9 probes, but at the cost of all of his Mutalisks over here, and he is going to be switching into Hydras, playing this as fluid and reactive as he can.
Yeah, I love how he's switching things up. I say that he's like mixing it up a little bit, maybe too much, where he is working on Hydras, but there's still Mutas out on the map, and they are losing their effectiveness a little bit, so that is potentially wasted gas. But regardless, I love the Hydra switch.
Indeed, I do. So effective against air like this, especially if you can get a bunch of microbial shrouds, like Rogue has shown us in the past. Actually, going into Lurker Den behind this, which alright, I get. You want to be able to deal with any potential, gateway follow-ups coming out, but nanO not focusing on that for the time being.
Yeah, honestly, this is going to work out really well just because nanO doesn't have that backbone of his army anymore. He doesn't have any more Void Rays. He's going to be relying on these storms to hold the line. And maybe because of how wonky this opening has been, because he had to switch into Phoenixes and everything, maybe JimRising can find an opportunity where he has the superior ground army and he can make something happen.
Wonky is such a good word. That doesn't get used as often as it should.
Wonky, tilted, off balance, unorthodox, crazy.
Yeah. Probes dying, 10 of them.
Oh my, that's a lot.
To
Actually,
be exact, that's pretty good. Yeah, you can say it's pretty wonky for the Protoss player.
Yeah, like that's my word now.
Yeah.
I like it too.
It's not like the first time I ever heard it, but I don't know, for some reason, hearing it now, I'm like, God, we should use it more.
Oh boy. As a nanO, alright, so this is the scary thing. We've seen this time and time again. When a Protoss gets their 4th base up and running, mate, they're set. They're almost set for the entire game.
Yeah, pretty much. Set and forget it. As long as they don't take too many losses on capital ships like carriers or Colossus, they're pretty much fine to just take incremental damage and eventually starve out the Zerg player. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're on Romanticite. We might be in for a bit of a longer one.
We definitely could be. Jim, he is struggling a little bit to get underway. He's double expanding right now, which is great. He needs to. What he also needs to do is like get out more queens and spread that creep, because he's not even like connecting his bases. There's barely any creep out on the map.
Ouch. Yeah, I could always like, throw down the hatchery, connect it, connect the bases that way.
I mean, that's what he's looking to do. He's looking to try and do whatever he can to connect those bases. But as a result, it is going to be a little bit difficult, a little bit awkward, wonky, if you will, for JimRising to maneuver around and defend his bases.
Yeah, I'm not sure how these queens are. You know what the actual pattern here is for these queens. So far, it seems like they're just spreading wherever they can. That's not as efficient, but you know, you gotta do something at the very least. Beautiful tag on a bunch of these lurkers, but that tag's gonna run out.
Oh god, and a lot
Look at that storm!
Beautiful storm. They're able to take out, what, 4 lurkers almost immediately. There are still a couple of more behind this, but another storm!
Man, this is such a wonky timing coming out from JimRising. Not quite sure what the plan was. I mean, he's still ahead in the army supply, but this front he's gonna have to completely give up on it. So many boost hydras, and who says you need chargelets as a buffer light?
Exactly, all you need are those storms, and Jim took them right to the face. We do see, as you said, that he is remaxing quite quickly, which is great, but he's still kind of behind in the terms of the upgrades. Like, he's only got +2 range attack. He still hasn't started working on 3-3. He does have his hive, which is great, and he's working on +3 fire attack, question mark? He doesn't even have anything in the sky. I was like,
Might
what?
be playing for a very huge corruptor switch.
I
Vipers, he is investing pretty heavily in them.
I mean, it would be good to switch into them. The problem is that right now he's like, the ground army is what matters, and that's where the upgrades are lacking.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where if nanO just chooses not to go across the map for maybe 10 more minutes, then JimRising is going to be set, but that's a very big if, and as we see, nanO is trying to, you know, assert himself on top of the map. JimRising trying to hit another timing, but like you said, without those ground upgrades, yeah, it's not exactly effective. JimRising, well aware of that, backs away.
Oh, you know what would be beautiful for Jim? Like a solid wave of lings, like to try and get on top of this. Ooh, nice yoink!
Taking out one of those carriers for absolute free. You'll love to see it as a Zerg player. But what you don't love to see is a little bit of stroke point over here. You hate to see it if you're a Protoss player. These yoinks light.
Yeah, exactly. Stifling the amount of carriers that are out on the map. Only 3 remaining now. Like, that's an amount that you can deal with. But what also matters are the storms.
That it does. That's the problem with Hydras, aren't they? They are just so fleshy, and they take so much of a bruising when it comes to these storms. The yoinks are really good. The High Templar are not quite in a position to really feed back any of these Vipers. The Phoenix is also being used very conservatively. That's all of the carriers taken out. No, JimRising isn't gonna switch races. No.
Maybe too soon. Like, look at the supplies. They're still quite close to each other, but Jim, he has such a massive bank. What he's really hurting on right now is Larva, as he barely doesn't have enough to push in here. There are just enough storms.
Indeed, there are, and these chargelets just for added measure. Now even more Hydras coming out, like I did not think that was where we were going.
Hey, I mean,
we have +3 flyer weapons and still working on 3/3 ground.
Exactly, it's one of those things where Jim has +3 flyer attack. Oh, there are no more carriers. Oh, I guess I'm not going for the corruptor switch. What have I done?
Well, Jim, he is fluid.
Mm-hmm.
He reacts to what is going on in front of him, and he can just change his form. You know, one day he has hair, one day it's long, luscious blonde locks, the next day he shaves.
Exactly, he is all over the place, and honestly he's looking really good right now. What's scary is that we still do have like nothing but like double carrier production, so that carrier count is slowly getting back up. And the High Templar, they were never really dealt with. Like, they were able to survive the majority of those engagements, so there's still so many of them, so many storms available.
That they are, and on top of that, a couple of feedbacks as well. Like, you know, there's a lot of Vipers going on over here. I think the Phoenixes have mostly been taken out, so I do feel like that. There we go! That's some very nice ones, but not getting all of these Vipers. The very high health Vipers, as a matter of fact, are the ones that still stay alive. High energy Vipers, I should say. And they said high health Vipers are alive. Yeah, some pretty nice storms coming out here from nanO. Is it going to be enough? No. These Hydras are in for such a bruising. The charge is taken out by the Lurkers, and there's still quite the Zerg army left here to make a foothold.
Oh, exactly. More yoinks of ducks are going down, some more carriers are falling, and it looks like that was it for the storms. JimRising, he has weathered the storm, and now he's here in the natural.
Yo, he actually beat carriers.
I mean,
as a Zerg player.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's looking to do. As it looks like, oh, there it is. Another carrier does fall. No more energy on these Vipers, but it looks like it's enough anyway for these Hydras to just stutter step forward.
I also just realized the only protection isn't that Oracle Genius called JimRising. It's not gonna switch race, unfortunately.
Wow, Jim. He takes his revenge from last week. And on the Romantic side, one of the more macro maps, he actually takes down the Protoss.
Takes down the Protoss with like carriers. Let me just reiterate that.
Let's reiterate the fact that he put himself behind in upgrades as well, like that. Those +2 and +3 flyer attack did not come into play at all. He was even working on +2 armor armor for the flying units as well. Like, I'm
looking over at JimRising's stream right now. I don't have the audio on, but he looks so relieved and so happy. Oh my god.
It's great because
he can't even believe it himself.
Yeah, it's great because he did it in Jim fashion. Like, it all started with the meters, you know, and that's what really put nanO off tempo.
Can we call this the Mexican? It wouldn't be a tuk-tuk because those are Thai, but what did they drive over there? How do people get around in Mexico?
That's a good question.
Donkeys?
I
apologize. That might be insensitive. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They've evolved past donkeys, Yaku. That's.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
God damn.
Darking in the chat.
Oh my god.
No. Wait.
I would have said omnibus. I know that's
omnibus. That's one I was thinking. Yeah. Those are pretty popular over there.
Yeah. I know they're popular in Latin America. I mean, like South America, I should say. I don't know about Mexico.
Oh, actually, nope. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was thinking like those motorized bicycles. Actually.
Yeah. Those as well.
Aren't they pretty common over there?
Oh yeah. Incredibly common. Yeah. I can't remember what they called.
Yeah, personal motor device, I think is what they call it over here. Although, actually, those are more for electric scooters. And by scooters, I don't mean like Vespas. I mean like literally the ones where you push with one of your legs.
Oh my god!
And you, yeah.
Okay, as we are getting ready for game number 2, I love how JimRising responded to it, but now nanO is aware. We're gonna see if that was all that JimRising had, if he had like kind of one plan to deal with the carriers, because he's gonna need another in game number 2.
Yeah, here's what I'm curious, like, more than what JimRising's plan is. What I'm curious of is what is Cosmos's plan to get JimRising to switch race now that he now that the terms of the deal have not been met. Oh, look at that! He just gave us all ref. As I might still be looking at his stream.
Oh god, as we are gonna be getting into game number 2 here. It's gonna be on Death Aura. Do we want this to go to the ace match and then Jim plays Protoss? Is that what we want?
Yes. That's what I want. I don't know about we, as in us casters and us in the chat over here, but that's what I want. As we load in onto Death Aura LE. We're here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of the map. We have El Assassino himself, L'Assassino. No, yeah, it's still L because it's not like the and the, where he's saying the for. Oh, slap my mic. The for words that start with a consonant, the for words that start with a vowel. It's more of a, like, what's it called? It's more of a, what's to do with the gender of the, not the noun, not the verb, the word itself. No, I guess also the noun, because we. In the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way to the top left-hand corner of the map, he weathered so many storms. He took out carriers without even needing to use any German taxis, any Warsaw subways. He just used that Mexican motor bicycle. The Mexican motorbike, that's what we'll call it. He is El Assassino, Jaime Duran Arturo Silencio himself, JimRising. Representing Macaco and Timbers Esports.
And as there is a bit of an aggressive probe there, we have in the bottom right the owner of said probe, the Blue Protoss, hailing from the land of Brazil, representing Team The Bad. It is nanO.
And here's what gets me excited a little bit. Like, it's not just that JimRising took out carriers, which has been kicking his ass consistently for a while. It's not just that he did that. It's not just that he did it in JimRising fashion. It's also because I'm now realizing, as he zoomed in, JimRising is Team Kong.
Get out.
We're done.
Nope. All right, here.
He is fully Team Kong. You'll love to see it.
You're not even gonna watch that movie, mate. You know?
Probably not. I might watch that movie. I like Skull Island.
I
might watch it.
Oh boy, I'll watch it in 2 years when it comes out on Netflix. That's when I'll watch it.
That's probably what it's gonna be.
Oh boy, okay.
Still a little.
Yeah, as we do have the Stargate on the way for nanO. Again, so nanO doesn't seem like he's switching things up here, but I imagine nanO is going to be more on point in terms of his scouting. That is something that did kind of catch him a little bit off guard, was that Spire Muta play early on.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot more active in scouting here. May actually just go for the Oracle first, just to be able to go across the map quicker, but is going to be, just going for the Void Ray. And playing this out a bit more reactive, I imagine.
Yeah, we shall see what the plan is here. Again, we talk about this a lot when it comes to Death Aura. It is pretty easy to secure those 3rd and 4th bases, so this could be to nanO's advantage here. It'll be a lot more difficult for JimRising to deal harassing damage, but we'll see. Like, JimRising, he can make some magic happen.
Yeah, it's easier to secure those bases, assuming you have creep spread.
Bringing it back.
I think I said it once in a stats game question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has caught up to that. Has never let me live that one down.
You're not letting yourself live that one down. I didn't even remember that. Oh god.
Listen.
Oh boy. Okay, so we'll wait and see. What is the plan here for Jim? He's gonna go for another fast lair. Oh, that's exactly what he's doing.
On the third base?
I know, right?
That is vulnerable.
That's a very interesting place to throw that down. We'll see if it goes unscouted because we do have the Oracle out here. Ooh, bit of a ling run by. It looks like it's going to be able to just barely take out the Adepts.
The Adept! Oh, some pretty nice SimCity and really good choke point over there, but yeah, not quite enough to deal with the Silencio Zerglings. Unfortunately, can't cancel that pylon, but yeah, we'll at least be able to chase these Zerglings away. This is still very good for JimRising, able to bring this Oracle all the way back home.
Exactly. Once again,
depowered.
it is depowered. You have to throw down another pylon for that structure. And again, it does delay the scouting, right? So the Oracle is finally across the map. Will it even, want to check out that third base is kind of the question. Oh.
It definitely will. It is so much of a prime target, and with that, able to see that Hydra then coming out from JimRising. He knows that Jim is switching things up, or is he? Could always cancel that, grab another Spire.
I was kind of hoping for it, but it looks like he isn't going straight into Hydras, and I'm a little bit concerned because this is like the kind of thing that JimRising was doing before, and it felt like that's what nanO was more comfortable with, like defending against those Hydra pushes, those Hydra timings, and it feels like that's what Jim is going for as he starts up the upgrades.
But if you think about it, ultimately, nanO died to Hydra Lurker, not Corruptors.
This is true. So we shall see how good the defenses are. We'll see how good the control is for Jim, how much stronger it has gotten.
It's interesting how JimRising prioritizes muscular augments, Hydra speed instead of groove spines, Hydra range. We normally see it the other way around. This, to me, is saying that Jim wants to be a lot more aggressive with this. He wants to move across the map. He doesn't want to have mini queens, if you want to call Hydras that.
Yeah.
As a defensive unit.
I would imagine so. As nanO is being pretty aggressive out on the map with these Void Rays. Again, they're like JimRising, he has plenty to defend, with his queens and with his Hydralisks. nanO shouldn't lose too many as he is just on the edge of creep. And as we've seen time and time again, we have that Storm on the way as well as +1 charge. So like nanO is just doing like pretty standard Protoss things. What's interesting is that Jim is teching straight into Hive and Lurkers.
Against Stargate? Alright, I mean, I'm worried that JimRising is sort of going back to essentially his ways of last week or something like that, where he is thinking, alright, Def Aura, it's a bit more of a straightforward map. I think I can just take out the Protoss player before they get to Stargate play. Either that or he himself wants to off race, so trying to throw a little.
It's possible. It's possible that he wants to try out his Protoss. He wants to give nanO a chance. Regardless, nanO does have a chance here. Again, like this is something that is a lot more standard, is a lot more straight up. There isn't any kind of mind games or any kind of hidden tech, so nanO just has to focus on his defense. That as a Protoss, that's all you have to do. You're here, you're getting your 4th base up and running, just defend until you get out your carriers.
Yeah, you're getting a pizza break. That's what I imagine the PMP is.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Count us in. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
I'm not gonna lie, I was half expecting Cosmos to...
I was as well, but I didn't want to risk it. Oh, God. So good.
So he's a lot smarter than we are, I think.
We got there. We got there in the end.
So yeah, which twitch.tv/Cosmos TV was it?
I believe so, yeah.
Or it might be Cosmos TV, it might just be Cosmos, but yeah, if you're interested in the Portuguese cast, that's where to head over.
Exactly. Cosmos, one of the best Portuguese casters out there. One of the hypest there is. And right now he's cheering for his boy. Not just because he's his countryman, but also because he wants to see Jim whip out that Protoss.
Absolutely. He actually said something in the lobby a little bit early on. He was like, I have never cheered against JimRising this hard. I need to see the off race, and also I need to see nanO win.
For sure. I mean, there are, again, 2 big Brazilian names here in this tournament. nanO in the upper half and the Zerglord in the lower half. So, I mean, Cosmos, like, regardless, like, I'm sure one of those players is going to advance on. But which one, we will find out as Jim, he's getting to the point where he's got enough bases. He's getting to the point where he wants to stop droning up. He wants to work on his Spine and Spore forests and just focus on nothing but army.
Yeah, not quite maxed out yet, but you know, you can always get these sort of investments before you hit that point. You know, no point delaying it. And speaking of no point delaying, he is marching across the map.
Here we go. So the carriers aren't ready yet. The carrier production only just started, so nanO has to rely on nothing but the stack defense, charge lots, and storm to make sure that nanO doesn't die and gets into that carrier army.
Here's what I think is pretty scary for JimRising though. Like, I don't see any Vipers with this army.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but there are a lot of lurkers.
Yoinks and some Templar. Yeah, there are a ton of lurkers, and Jim is doing a pretty decent job of spreading them out. Oh, trying to flank with them. Almost taking out those High Templar, but very quick reactions coming out from nanO. Backs away with him.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And now it's just a couple of isolated ones. Yeah, beautiful defense.
Yeah, just barely. So nanO, like, there was barely any buffer left for those High Templar, but that warp in was just enough. The Void Rays are just enough. There are no more Hydras, so the lurkers are forced back home.
And when it's all said and done, you know, both of them lost about similar amounts of army, but JimRising was able to delay an expansion. The question is, who ended up getting a better hand out of that?
nanO. I would say that, yeah, Jim, he expended a lot of gas in that fight. He lost a lot of Hydras, a lot of lurkers, and he traded, and he was able to kill 2 Archons and a bunch of charge lots, essentially. And nanO, it was so key for him to defend, because he has defended, and now carriers are coming out. And we just saw that, like, the anti-air is key there. Like, that is what kept nanO alive, the fact that all those Hydras died, and now it's going to be so much more difficult to pull this off if you're Jim, at least without Vipers.
Or Corruptors, apparently. He is switching to that Spire tech. He does want a bit of a transition. All of these lurkers are super bunched up light, and these High Templar have storms for days. It's like we're in the rainforest, the Amazon.
Oh god, we're here in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, or in the Amazon, as you said, as there are only 4 lurkers remaining. I should say 2.
Get taken out. Doesn't even need the storms for him. Results doing such a good job. JimRising is remaxing pretty well, I would say, but he just cannot win these fights.
Oh, that he cannot. The lurker shots. They just barely only managed to get 1 High Templar.
Yeah, a little bit of flank here with the Hydralisk, but again, the numbers just are not there for him.
And
nanO kiting back to as well as he can.
Yeah, but you know what? There are only 3 storms remaining. More and more High Templar are slowly getting picked off. Oh, but the reinforcing carriers, they clean up.
And this is not quite critical mass territory, but it is. What's the level behind that? Like, it's old Juan.
Major.
I'm sorry. Major. Yeah, there we go.
Oh boy.
It's major mass.
Exactly, as the carriers are here. They defend for nanO once again. JimRising, he's expending so much gas trying to end the game. But like, he's not spending that gas teching up. We mentioned it a couple of times now. The Vipers, they're not here. They're so key at yoinking and taking out these carriers.
They very much are. Now there are a bunch more High Templar coming down. Just enough time has passed that I think that, you know, each of them has at least 1 storm to them.
Oh god.
That rally.
Yeah, as
Rally for the storm.
he goes out and then back into the storm. So many Hydras are being shaved off right now, and Jim doesn't have a bank for this. It's like, this is still quite costly.
Very, very costly coming out for him. You don't even need a buffer right now if you have this many interceptors out. But the Corruptors are coming in, trying to flank a couple of these, carriers wherever they can. I do fear that, JimRising probably doesn't have enough. And these interceptors are focusing the Corruptors. Normally you want them to focus on the Hydras here, since the Hydras can very quickly take them out, while the Corruptors do most of the legwork.
Yeah, but in the end, all the Hydras were taken out. Only a handful of Corruptors left. Oh god, they're trickling in as well as they get taken out.
And the supply is really starting to plummet. That bank that JimRising once had, it ain't there no more. And it looks like, Light, we're gonna see a PvP ace match. I hope so.
We most likely are, mate, because like there's nothing stopping these carriers. To be fair, there are a lot of Corruptors on the way. It's just Jim has to be careful not to lose them prematurely. He has to work on that count, and he's being active here. He kind of has to, like, right? He has to buy as much time as possible.
Try to draw the rest of this army back with some caustic sprays, but yeah, nanO has more than enough supply to spare.
Exactly, and now nanO, he's trying to push out across the map. He's cleaning up this creep, looking to lay siege upon one of these forward bases of JimRising. And as we see, there are a lot of Corruptors here. This is his chance to just dive in and focus down these carriers.
Yeah, I'm looking at these storms. Decent storms so far. Void Rays with prismatic alignment is doing quite a bit. Something died, but I think it might just have been interceptors.
I think it was one carrier.
It was pretty loud for it. Yeah. I was gonna say, if it was just interceptors, that was a pretty loud explosion. Like,
yeah.
Goddamn.
Oh boy, as another carrier does get sniped. Like, the focus fire is pretty good, but again, JimRising has to dance. He has to like poke in and out, because if he sits in storms, like that's it for his Corruptors.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit YOLO with these, which is the right move, I would say. He does have to take these risks like that when he doesn't have Vipers, but again, it's a risk for a reason. He is starting to lose more of these Corruptors. They're getting so low on health line. They're the orange and the red. Only one of them still the yellow. They are being taken out. Oh, God. Taken out.
Exactly.
But still has a base here for nanO. This is such a back and forth game.
It's one of those things where, like, sure, they trade like base for base, which is great. It's just the main army that's terrifying. Like, the Corruptor count was essentially reset there. Like, he stood in so many storms, like storm after storm, hit those Corruptors, and now nanO is pushing it forward into the bases.
Nothing really much to stop him. A nice storm. I don't see any Templar. Okay, there's still a lot of Templar left. Let's show you can't always trust your eyes. Nice storm here on top of the Hydra. And the charge that's just to pin them against the wall, Light. An absolute massacre here for the Zerg. And you know what that means? It means JimRising. He's going to join Rebirth as a Protoss player.
Exactly, that he will, as nanO pushes on forward. He crushes the army of Jim with his beautiful storms. He still has a couple of storms remaining with his main army. So Jim, he does have reinforcing Hydras, but it is not going to be enough. The Hive is going to be taken out.
It's getting low. GG is called. And nanO will fight back. He is going to be facing a Protoss JimRising in the ace match. Which is why nanO is going to offer Satara.
Potentially. I don't think anyone went into this thinking, yo, we're going to see like Jim in a PvP. This is going to be great. This is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, love to see it. It would be funny though, because I think PvT is probably, overall JimRising's worst matchup. Whereas PvP, again, not his best matchup. That's still ZvZ, followed by probably ZvT and then ZvP. But it's the best matchup of his off races.
Yeah, I mean, or we would have to assume so, right? Like, if Jim is feeling confident enough to whip out his Protoss instead of having another ZvP, we'll see. We'll see what he has to offer. I haven't seen him in a PvP before. I don't know if he's going to cannon. I don't know if he's going to proxy. I don't know if he's just gonna like go for a big 2-base blink all in. It could be anything.
Nexus Rush.
Oh,
What a mass recall.
It's again, it's possible. Who knows what he has in store for us in the ace match? But as they get ready, as they get the lobby ready, there are a couple of updates. It looks like we have our first semifinalist waiting for this series. Mood, the Bolivian Protoss. He's there chilling for the winner of nanO versus Jim.
No, he's Bolivian. So he was Chilean.
I got it.
So Chilean.
Shaking my head. Meanwhile, in the lower half of the bracket, Shelby is going up against the Zerg Lord, which I do think is probably the biggest obstacle for the Zerg Lord before it gets to those semis. Give your energy to Shelby, the Peruvian Terran. I don't know if you remember.
And this is gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shelby. He was also in Llama Cup.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you remember this, but a long time ago I showed you a clip of Shelby. Where like
what was it when he ran into banelings?
He was chasing slow banelings.
No!
He was chasing.
I was like, dude, I felt that.
He was like making fun of his opponent for attacking with slow banelings. He's like, what is this guy doing? He chases him and then the banelings turn around. He's like, oh god,
no. That surprise turnaround. As a Terran player, I felt that. I felt that deep in my heart. And I was like, man, my Honduran side came out for that. But regardless, we are now in the ace match. Winner of this is going to go up against Mood, that Bolivian player, as you mentioned. And who's it going to be like? Who's it going to be as we figure this out on Pills of Gold? LE, we're in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. The red Protoss player ain't playing Zerg. He is coming down from the land of Mexico. Going to be representing Timbers Esports, Macaco, and hashtag Team Kong. We have Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio himself, JimRising.
And here we have his opponent spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Pills of Gold LE. It is the Brazilian Protoss player, the blue Protoss, one of the best Protosses in Latin America. He is representing Team The Bad, nanO.
Of course, not to be confused with nanO Sheep, who themselves is not to be confused with Vortex Lamb.
nanO Sheep?
Yeah, wasn't there a player called nanO Sheep?
In Latin America? Maybe.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
I want to say MSO. Playing an MSO.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I'll give that to you since you were doing the reports for the longest time. F's in the chat for those reports.
Just remember that I have to do another one.
Oh god.
No, for StarCraft. So.
Yeah. But have you found like some inspiration to get that report going or?
No.
Not yet, really? God damn it.
And it's due on Thursday, so.
Feels bad,
Or
man.
technically Wednesday, because I'll have to check my plagiarism rate and everything.
Is it the report like based on your like quote unquote autobiography kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Question mark.
You're like, I don't even know what to write. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm not old enough for this.
And honestly, I'm surprised by how this game has turned out. Like JimRising, everything is in his main base. He's even opening up pretty safe with a shoe battery in the main.
Yeah, we were expecting him to go crazy. We were expecting him to go Kong on nanO over here, but not gonna be the case.
Yeah, a little bit more Godzilla here.
Or is nanO Godzilla?
We'll find out, because again, Jim, he's just being so diligent with his scouting. He went literally all around the map. He doesn't want to lose to something crazy, to some kind of hidden proxy. He's confident in this more, I don't want to say macro yet, but you know, at least a later stage of the game.
Which I have to speculate what it's going to be. Do you think JimRising is going to say, all right, you know what, I hate carriers. That's why I'm going to go carriers. Not looking too likely so far. As it is a robo opening though.
It's gonna be like a blink all in, right? Like +1 blink question mark? That and just,
yeah, always a possibility.
And then it'll just come down to the micro of the players, and I'm sure Jim is pretty confident with his blink micro question mark.
Yeah, get Mark on this. Ask him about JimRising. It's micro.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, when it comes to nanO, he still doesn't.
That's blinkable.
Yeah, there we go. Blink +1. So things are making sense for Jim. Meanwhile, nanO did invest into his natural base a lot faster. So that's kind of where his resources have gone into. And oh my god, he's getting a fast third.
Okay, this is a risk. That's 400 minerals that are not being put into defense over here. But if nanO is able to defend well enough, he's going to be ahead by so much going into the make game.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I just checked, and nanO did go in with a hallucinated scout. He did see everything in the main base. He saw all the structures, so he's aware of what's coming his way. And now we see immediately Immortal production. We have the Twilight Council on the way. nanO's blink is going to be so much later, but he will have the Immortals for the defense. So again, it's kind of up in the air here how things are going to go.
Time for the micro battle.
Pretty much. Yeah, like, again, nanO will have the defensive advantage with the shield batteries, but it's going to be on Jim to, like, maybe try and catch the Immortal on its own and, like, dive on it and focus it down, because if he can do that, if he can take out the Immortals, then, like, that's like, the big army advantage that nanO has, and then things will suddenly swing in Jim's favor.
And we're about to see it coming down. Surprised that we don't see a Warp Prism with this, so JimRising is doing a pretty big blink all in, but not too committed to it, it seems. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. Like, because of this, like, this is the only army Jim has out on the map. There's no reinforcements. Oh, he's gonna get some workers. Okay, so not blinking straight into the main base. He's getting a little bit of workers and then blinking away. Which is, I would say, the safer thing to do, 100%. Like, he knows how much of a defender's advantage nanO's got. He saw them sentries, and he saw the Immortal. Well, I'm not sure if he saw the Immortal, but he had to imagine it's on the waves, considering the Robo.
Yeah, definitely. This is really interesting, especially because, okay, so Jim, he can blink up into the main base. Ooh, maybe depower or deny a bunch of upgrades.
Oh, that would absolutely be key right now for JimRising. The army from nanO all the way to the third base takes out the Forge. And might be able to like charge as well. It's so low, it's less than half health. Get it, Jim! He gets it.
Wow.
Backs away, actually trying to get more pylons. Yeah, a little bit of an awkward SimCity, making nanO's defense a little bit worse. But he's right on top of the Immortal. Taken out. These Zealots try to do whatever they can. Somehow, JimRising is getting a ton of value.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta depower all of this. You gotta depower all of this, like...
He definitely could. There's only one pylon left, but he does back off, and he just juked nanO. I don't know if you saw, nanO split up his own army, because he sent half to the low ground to catch Jim when he blinked out. But Jim, instead of blinking out, he blinked further in. He pounced upon half of the remaining army of nanO in the main base. Got so much value. My god, he can go back in.
And now he can depower it. No, he's like,
you really want to get that pylon.
I really do. It's 5 gateways and a cyber core being powered by that light. Granted, I think one of these can be powered by the other one. Another Immortal. Okay, Excited Observer might be able to actually get this if he blinks. One more. Here, making it so much tougher. Just a one more volley taken out. Loses every stalker though. And nanO, he can actually counterattack.
Man, you say every stalker. We got more
I
stalkers
say
here over at the third base location, looking to kill more and more workers. To be fair, nanO, he still has the economic advantage, the worker advantage, but Jim, he's just keeping nanO busy, stuck at home.
Funnily enough, Jim plays PvP like a Terran player. Going around, you know, being annoying, getting each of these corners, these multi-progs, while he builds up back at home. He's actually at +2 weapons already.
Exactly. I was going to point that out. As he was focusing down the forge, like he was working on +2, so now he has a massive advantage. Again, all Jim has to do is mass blink stalkers, obviously focus on his micro, and he can totally win this fight. Another immortal!
Absolutely can. Ugh! Can definitely get those. He can still kite these zealots. It's a little bit tricky, but you know, you can always rely on your blink a little bit.
Yeah, and there we go.
The immortal so exposed.
Oh god, it's gonna go down.
Soccer support trying to keep it alive, but it does go down. JimRising once again though, he's gonna be losing a lot of stalkers for one immortal. Is it worth it? Well, he's about to get +3.
Well, what's scary?
Cancels it.
What's scary is that there are no shield batteries here at the third. Only one being thrown down right now. There is a bit of a defensive army. Looking to try and surround that of nanO.
Yeah, and never forget, Jim does have the upgrade advantage, a pretty heavy one at that. And only now getting that +1. The Immortals are in such a precarious position though.
Oh, that they are, but they do manage to back off just enough. And meanwhile, we do have Jim trying to engage with this army. There are a couple of reinforcing zealots though.
And they're doing a little bit to keep him alive. Takes out the Immortal once again. Just JimRising actually got to do this.
We shall see. It looks like he's going to take out the majority of the army on the left-hand side. There are reinforcing zealots looking to try and get on top of the Immortals. Oh, but they can't.
They don't quite get it. And Blink, it ain't just good for kiting. It's good for chasing.
That it is. And now nanO is forced back. The problem is that nanO's like macro is pretty solid, more solid than that of Jim. Like he's already up to 4 bases. Like he expanded behind this. He's ahead in workers despite losing so many early on. Like the macro of nanO is still superior, it feels. Yeah,
I gotta have to agree with you there, Light. I mean, just look at the income. nanO is mining 1,000 more minerals than JimRising is.
Yeah, exactly.
And twice the gas.
Oh god, and all these immortals are going to be taken out by the zealots. Jim, he's going across map with his stalkers again to try and keep nanO busy, but he's starting to get overwhelmed.
Absolutely is. And I was gonna say, you know, nanO, his income is really good, but what's his production looking like? Also very, very good. He's on 11 gateways right now.
Yeah. And Jim just can't keep up. The zealots there across the map, they're actually harassing, dealing an insane amount of economic damage, getting on top of all the zealots of Jim, and Jim's just struggling to keep up. Like his fights and his micro have been better throughout the majority of the game, but like his production just hasn't been able to keep up. Same with the economy.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show you that micro can only take you so far.
It's the difference between between Jim, who like off races as Protoss every now and then, and someone whose main race is Protoss.
Absolutely is. Because, you know, when you off race, I do feel like when you off race, you're like, oh, I want to do this flashy thing, right? So if you're not used to Terran, you're like, I want to try splitting. If you're not used to Zerg, you're like, I want a magic box to like mute it up, right? And stuff like that. You kind of forget about your fundamentals a little bit, but nanO, he stuck with it this entire time. GG's call, nanO, second week in a row, gonna be taking out JimRising.
GG, well played. Well played by Jim, to be honest. Like, he was impressive, as you were saying, very flashy, insane blink micro, but I think we all agree that as the game went on, the better it was for nanO. Like, because this isn't Jim's main race, he needed to end the game early, and maybe doing something like sniping that pylon and just like depowering a lot of the production for nanO, maybe doing something like that would have benefited him and maybe swung things in his favor.
Yeah, for a little bit anyway, while nanO would be forced to repower all of them. But yeah, in the end, I just think that despite this being probably one of JimRising's best off-race matchups, nanO it's his main race. He has stuck to them fundamentals. He did not short out in what's the phrase I'm thinking for, like the path to victory. You know, he lost a little bit tactically, but strategically he knew what he had to do.
Yeah, he was unshaken by the amount of chaos that was happening in the bases of nanO. Like, he was unwavering. He knew what he had to do. He had to focus. As you said, I really like the phrasing of the fundamentals, right? Of the basics of the race. And that's really what he had to focus on. And that's all he needed to push him through to allow him to gain that lead and eventually overwhelm Jim. And really well done by nanO. But he's not out of it yet. We still got another PvP ahead of us.